Social stories, also referred to as social narratives, can be a great tool to use in ABA. However, did you know that there's no documented evidence to suggest that they eliminate negative behavior? So, why do we still use them and how do we use them correctly?
Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna.
We are behavior analysts that create weekly content about how to teach kids with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier. Today's topic is all about social stories. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases.
So when my daughter was younger and we were going on vacation, we always used to get online and show her where we were going. So sometimes, well, I think her very first airplane trip, we actually went on to the airport website and we said, okay, here's the airport, here's security, here's what it's going to look like to really prepare her. And then, we said, here's the hotel we're staying at. And, here's what it looks like inside so that she could actually visualize what we were doing and where we were going.
So what are social stories used for in ABA? They were originally created by someone named Carol Gray, who had a context for creating a little narrative about the experience, the expectations, and some feelings involved. The way that we use it in ABA is really as a piece to a larger treatment puzzle. So they can be used as a tool to exchange information between parents, professionals, and then individuals with autism.
When Carol Gray first created social stories, they used to be a tool just to try and eliminate negative behavior. And it was, she would write social stories and it would be things like, I keep my hands to myself when I see my teacher. And when I keep my hands to myself, everyone feels happy. And, there was a lot of research done on social stories, and in and of themselves, they don't eliminate negative behaviors. So we need to make sure that we're using social stories in a different way. So we can write something up to do with challenging behavior, but we do need to know what the function of that challenging behavior is. So for instance, with social stories, if there is some type of anxiety, and yes, I said the word anxiety, and I'm a behavior therapist, but in terms of, if someone is anxious because they're going to a new place or going to a new location, we know that's the function. The function, the trigger, maybe that new location. So let's look at what we can do to help them out and try and reduce negative behavior by showing them ahead of time, pre-teaching, priming what that is going to look like. So showing them an example of the airport or, the hotel they're staying at or some places they're going to visit would be a way to try and decrease that anxiety and decrease that negative behavior.
So as behavior analysts, we're always looking towards the evidence, and the evidence tells us that social stories on their own do not eliminate behavior or teach skills. So just the process of reading the story, showing them the pictures, as much as you can make it as realistic as possible, it still has not proven to teach a skill or reduce challenging behavior. However, there is evidence to show that when paired with other interventions, so using something like social stories plus BST, social stories plus video modeling, social stories with another evidence-based teaching procedure, then it is effective. I don't think they've done a parametric analysis on which component was effective, but we're talking about, a greater treatment and intervention. So using a lot of other, if you're going to show a social story, then act it out, then role play, then model, do those other components of BST along with the social story.
I mean, if we think of social stories as visuals or another visual, there's tons of evidence to suggest that visuals work. So as part of the downloads, we have a social story on riding the school bus. And the social story is, when I ride the school bus, this is the reason I ride the school bus. On the school bus, I see these this is what's going to happen. I see these people. I may feel this way. Here's some things I can do, like take deep breaths, that type of thing. Reading that social story in and of itself may help some kids and introduce them to the concept of riding the school bus, but that's not enough. Like Shira said, then we would go that one step further and actually role play and practice that calming down procedure and things that they can use on the school bus while they ride it. Then we may also take a piece of that social story or a visual from that social story and give it to them as they're walking onto the school bus so that they have a visual with them while they're riding the school bus as that reminder. So like Shira said, just reading a social story in and of itself Yeah, it's not effective. But with all of that other stuff, like the priming, using the visual as a reminder, and the role play, that's extremely effective.
And if you did want to get some data on real data on whether that's effective, you can measure any of those pieces. So if, let's say, a student was starting to ride the bus for the first time, and there was a way to get a rating scale on their comfort level or their reactions before being exposed to a social story, and then using the intervention like Shana was describing and reviewing the social story, giving them the visuals, having the visuals with them, and then being able to rate their level of, nervousness or comfort or behaviors after the social story, then we have data. And now all of a sudden it is a database decision, and we can decide whether this intervention of these visuals with a social story is working or not.
And obviously, we're, ABA people, we are guided by data. So making sure that you're taking that data throughout is really great ABA. In terms of the social story itself, we're using it to try and decrease negative behavior, decrease anxiety, talk to people about upcoming events, expected behavior in specific areas, locations. The big message that you want to get across, though, especially when we're talking about anxiety and when we're talking using social stories for anxiety, is that it's okay to feel a certain way. So, on the school bus, you may feel this way. That's okay. And that's huge. It's just not okay to act in a certain way. So it's okay to feel this way, but it's not okay to act this way. And here's what we can do instead. And making sure that you're always giving that replacement behavior solution in a social story. So, here's the situation. It's okay to feel that way. Instead, we should be acting, as a replacement skill. Here's what you can do instead. Now let's practice that.
And then you can get some really nice data on that replacement skill. Is the skill increasing through our review, through our visuals, through our reminders and pre-teaching, modeling, and all of those pieces? Or is it not? And then we need to try something else.
So we have some other video blogs as well to go check out. One of them is on teaching emotional regulation. And, we've got another one on social stories as well in terms of do social stories change behavior? So check that one out as well.
Click the link on or around this video to get your free sample social story about riding the bus. For editable social stories and other resources, check out our Behavior Pro membership.
Also, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have any further questions.